He's been the chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority at one time, and also, not to be outdone, he was also the chairman one time of the Ceylon Shipping Corporation. Now, to put it into perspective, back in 1978, the Ceylon Shipping Corporation had ownership of approximately 10 vessels that they owned, and they had a healthy bank balance of $20 million back in those days, 1978. He'll tell us the story, of course. He's right here with us, this professional accountant, and, as I say, formerly the chairman one time of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority and the Ceylon Shipping Corporation. He's right here, Mr. Ranjith Wickramasinghe. Hello. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening for us.
Would you agree if I said that, you know, no plan, no progress? So for progress, you need a plan. Is that about right in your professional career? Have you come across that?
Well, yes, you need a plan, because I think we have a bit of a crisis in the foreign exchange situation in the country. Our foreign reserves have come down post-COVID to $4 billion, whereas pre-COVID we had almost $8 billion. So we need to have a quick action plan, a burst of development for us to get us out of this quagmire very quickly, because we don't have time. We can't say we'll do it slowly. No, I think
time is of the essence.
Essence, right. Definitely.
So how would you propose that we raise this money quickly? Well,
actually, you know, I did an analysis of what are the strengths of this country. It's called a SWOT analysis. Yeah. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and also the so basically we in Sri Lanka we have two physical resources, right, which is one is the land, and the other one is the sea, right. We are island nation. Now in terms of the land, we have limited land mass, and we have a limited jungle area. The forest cover is very limited. Over the years it has come down from 25% now down to 18%. So you cannot reduce our forest cover anymore.
Because that too is essential.
Sorry?
That too is essential. We need to have that.
We need to have. And the problem is that we have a population of nearly 22 million, and we have a massive biodiverse habitat, right? The elephants and the people, we all have to live in this space, and any development that you want to do in the land, right, is not sufficient to get out of this quagmire that we are in. Right. We need a burst of development.
So we look to the seas.
We have to look to the sea, because with this 200 nautical miles of exclusive economic zone that we have,
which is here around, we can see it on our screen here.
See, we have a land mass. We have a land mass of 65,000 square kilometers. Right. But we have an exclusive economic zone. Right. This band of 200 nautical miles is in blue is almost 500,000 square kilometers, 8 times the size of our land mass.
8 times more than the land mass. Okay.
So I think we have not fully utilized this area at all. So the burst of development can come from here, because here there will be least resistance. Right. When you have to do massive development in the land, there's always resistance, because if you look at the demographics of Sri Lanka, the rural peasants, right, the poor rural peasants are actually involved in cultivation of land for generations and generations. So it will be very difficult to bring in commercial type of activity
Right.
overnight.
Okay.
So, but if you go into the sea,
Yeah.
I think that's wide open.
So obviously this means that we're coming to look at the importance of our ports.
Well, ports is one element,
Yeah.
right? So you see, and Sri Lanka is situated in the center of the major east-west shipping lane.
Right.
See, the ships come from Suez
Right.
and they proceed east,
Right.
say to Singapore and then
On to China.
to China and Japan.
Yeah.
Now, see, we are in the center. See,
Right.
you have Dubai
Yeah.
in the west, then Sri Lanka in the center, the Colombo port,
Right.
and then Singapore in the east.
Right.
Right, so we are right in the center,
Mm-hmm.
and the Colombo port has over the years has become a major hub port,
Mm.
servicing the Indian subcontinent, servicing Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and even up to Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
See, if you look at the geographic location of Sri Lanka, if you look south, there's not a single country. If you can see, if your eyes will take
Yeah.
you further, you will see the South Pole,
Right.
right? And on the west,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's Maldives is the only island that is here,
Right.
and on the east, it is the Indonesia.
Right.
This is a massive area.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a massive catchment area, and Colombo is in the right and the center, and also feeding Australia
Mm-hmm.
in the south, and also connecting up with the African continent.
So right now, so what you're saying is, if we exploit and make better use of our port and increase the capacities, then we'll be in the money then.
Oh yes, I mean, so the beauty of the port business is that
Yeah.
90% of the revenue that we get in foreign exchange
Yeah.
is ours.
Right.
Now, see, I'll give you an example. In the apparel trade, although our exports are almost $6 billion
Yeah.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
but there's about $2 to $3 million that goes to buy the fabric.
Right. So there's a fair chunk that goes out again.
Correct. But
Right.
in the case of the port business,
Yeah.
90%
Is retained here.
yeah. And now when you look at the Colombo port, right, it's one of the best ports in this area. So we have come up, and now we do 7 million TEUs.
Right.
But we got 2 terminals in the South Harbour, the East Terminal and the West Terminal. You know, they can be developed within 9 months.
Right. Within 9 months.
Yeah.
And right now we do 7 million TEUs or 7.5 million TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units, also known better, I suppose, as containers. So you do about 7 million, 7 to 7.5 million, I
Now.
read somewhere now. To what point can we increase it to?
Well, actually, if you get the existing 2 terminals running,
Yeah.
right, which if you put maximum effort
Yeah.
and put it on a fast track,
Yeah.
within 1 year, you can get it up and running, and we can bring another 8 million TEUs with those 2. You double up your existing throughput of 7 million to 15.
Right.
So it is technically possible.
It's technically possible to increase the capacity from about 7.5 million to just over 21 or 22 million.
Well, with these 2 terminals,
Yeah.
you can definitely get it up to 15 million.
Right.
The shortest possible time for that, I would say, is 1 year.
Okay. So in a year we can do up to 15.
15.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that if you extend the present South Harbour breakwater,
Yeah.
right, you can do the second West Terminal,
Right.
another new terminal,
Right.
and also you can do the second East Terminal,
Right.
and also do the second SAGT terminal.
Right.
So you see, by a small extension of the breakwater, which is going to cost us about $500 million, that is the only investment that is required from the government.
So about $500 million Sri Lanka has to spend.
But yeah, Sri Lanka has to spend.
for the terminal that we, the government,
Not the terminal, it's the extension of the breakwater.
Sorry, the extension of the breakwater.
All the terminals will be done by a public-private partnership. There'll be the government does not have to spend any money on it.
Where do we get the $500 million?
Well, actually, these infrastructure developments with this port growing so rapidly, we can immediately get a loan from the ADB or from JICA. And they are very concessionary loans, right? Normally they'll give you a grace period and a long repayment period. So, I mean, if you actually, according to the figures that I have here, if you get up to 15 million TEUs, you can almost get get 1 billion in foreign exchange.
If you handle 15
TEUs, yeah, to the country, $1 billion.
Right.
And
so that we can get within the space of inside of 2 years.
Definitely inside of 2 years, right? So I mean, this is the breakwater. The $500 million is a one-off thing. The life of a breakwater is 50 years.
Right.
Or even maybe even more.
Right.
So it's a one-off payment.
Yeah.
But it enables you to earn $1 billion every year.
So, you know, Mr. Ranjith, I hear you saying about the Sri Lanka's strategic location on this main highway of the shipping industry from east to west and the other way around too. So, why is it that surely how many foreign shipping companies have their head offices in Sri Lanka?
Well, I think the majority of the shipping companies have their agents here. I don't know of any one having a head office here, but they have a connection, you know, a very close connection.
But
here.
For example, if the government was to entice them, encourage them to come and set up their head offices here, and entice them with tax breaks and so on, do you think that will help?
Well, that will certainly help, but really I think that particular area of the business is what the port city is trying to canvass.
Right, okay.
But you know, besides that, if you increase the throughput, automatically we get foreign exchange coming into the country. Right. Right, with practically no investment from the government. It just carries on because all the terminals will be built by the public-private partnerships. And
thank you for your questions coming through on SMS on 0772 300 305 as always. And there's one interesting question here. Why do you think, Mr. Ranjith Wickramasinghe, why has no government put this plan into practice?
Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of talk about it, but I think time is of essence. Now you need to get down to action.
Are you being polite? What you really mean to say is there's a lot of talk but no action.
Well, yes, I think because we need to get moving. You know, I mean, if you are in this difficult situation, we got to come out of it very fast.
Indeed.
Yeah. So according to actually the extension of the breakwaters or the South Harbour can take you up to 27 million TEUs, giving you a foreign exchange income of $2.5 billion a year.
Yeah.
And the next stage is actually to go and do the northern breakwater,
right,
and get another 3 terminals there, right, which can be done in another 5 years. So by 2029, Colombo will be able to have 40 million TEU capacity.
40 million?
40 million.
On that very interesting note, let's go for a short break. Listen to the headlines this evening on the Primetime News from News First. We'll see you on the other side.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Mr. Ranjith Wickramasinghe, who's a professional accountant and the former chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority and a former chairman of the Ceylon Shipping Corporation Limited. Thank you for the questions, and some of them are statements, and this is a wonderful statement. It says here, the private sector motto is plan your work and work your plan. Is that about what we need to be doing now?
Of course, yes.
And Mr. Ranjith, how do we get this going? You said we can even go up to 40 million containers in a year. That's about coming up to nearly 6 times what we are currently doing. How do we get going?
Well, actually, the way the port has been structured,
yeah,
the South Harbour can be extended,
right,
as I told you, right, to get another 4 terminals inside that,
right,
and that will take you up to almost 27 million TEUs
right,
capacity. And then you have to do the next north breakwater and have another 3 terminals on the northern side. So this entire port can go up to 40 million TEUs.
Right. And will in your professional experience, if one puts one's head to it and and displays a commitment to achieving this, how long will it take?
Well, I would think that we can reach 27 million TEUs by 2025.
Right.
And we can reach 40 million TEU capacity by 2029.
In all of this, is there any bitter medicine to swallow as well, or and therefore will we need a spoonful of sugar to make that medicine go down better? Is there a bitterness in any of this that we will have to crunch and bite the bullet and wait?
Well, actually, you see, Colombo has demonstrated, right? It's a very, very efficient port, right? In terms of cost, it is the lowest cost. In terms of productivity, it is meeting up to all the other ports. So we need to keep this advantage, right? But just because you create capacity, you are not going to fill it. You can fill it if you continue those attributes.
I see.
Of being cost-wise competitive, and in terms of productivity, that you are also competing with the other ports. See, in the hub port business, there's competition, right? People don't have to send cargo to Colombo; they can send it to Malaysia. They can send it to another port in Dubai.
I'm wondering, Mr. Ranjith, what happens to that other little thing down there, also known as the Hambantota Port then?
Well, the Hambantota Port,
yeah,
actually is now operating to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I think the Hambantota Port and the hinterland,
yeah,
there's a huge hinterland.
Yes.
Right, which can support the cargo.
Right.
Right. Now, I think basically we have to get a lot of FTIs to come into the hinterland and use.
So who gains the revenue of using the berths in Hambantota then?
Well, I think I think at the moment the Chinese own that port.
Yeah.
I think they own.
So the Sri Lankan government will not get anything.
Well, it's a foreign exchange.
Of what?
Whatever monies are earned.
Right.
There is foreign exchange that comes to our country.
But I think my question should be more focused. Will the Hambantota Port generate more or less foreign exchange for Sri Lanka than the Colombo port?
No, I mean Hambantota, probably their capacity is maybe 2 million TEUs.
Oh, okay. So just
right. So it is not in competition with Colombo at all.
Colombo is streets ahead already.
I think basically the Hambantota must be used to bring in a lot of FTIs.
Right.
Where you see now since Sri Lanka is situated in the center,
yeah,
and we are a hub port. We can get all these goods that are stored here in Colombo to all parts of the world very quickly.
Right.
So basically all the foreign countries must bring in FDIs and set up what I call assembly type of factories.
And making use of the hinterland.
For warehousing, so that immediately they can send all these things to various places in the world.
Right.
Without them having to come from faraway places.
Right. There are various questions. Some of them are asking you, what about the setting up of facilities for yachts and so on? Will that help us also to?
Of course, kind of, but only thing is, you know, they cannot go to this magnitude of the transshipment cargo revenues.
Right. So the real meat is in the transshipment cargo business.
Definitely.
Right. And what about passenger traffic?
Well, again, I think we need all these things, right? But you know, they are not going to make a hell of a big dent.
Right.
So our emphasis should be the transshipment cargo.
And would it be fair to say that one can make use of, say, Gaul and Trinco for the cruise ships and,
of course,
and so on?
We could. I think Gaul is largely a yacht shipping area. So that can be expanded. But you know, you're not talking in terms of $1 billion foreign exchange revenues, you know.
Which is what we really want, and that can be got quite easily
from the transshipment cargo,
relatively speaking.
Yes.
And with least resistance from the public and so on.
Basically, I mean, sea is open, and the good thing about it is that all these terminals are going to be built in the sea, not in the land.
Right.
Because you extend the breakwater and then you start filling the sea.
Right.
So we are not touching the land.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of this process.
Indeed. And so it begs the question then, what happens to marine pollution? And do you foresee any potential damages to the marine environment when we extend the breakwaters and do more business there? Or is that just a fact of life, and that's
well, actually, it has not been a problem because we have now expanded this port, right, from 1 million TEUs to 7.
Right.
Right. We haven't had any particular problem. Colombo is a all-weather port. It works 365 days of the year. It's beautifully located.
And is it efficient?
It is. The container terminals are very efficient. Now, especially, I mean, if you look at SAGT, I mean, it has won world accolades, and even the Chinese terminal, right? They have actually breached the design capacity.
I see.
SAGT's design capacity was 1 million TEUs, but they are now doing 2 million TEUs.
Right.
And the design capacity of the CICT, China International Container Terminal, is less than 3 million. They're already doing more than 3 million.
The expansion of these ports in the way that you say in Colombo and extending the breakwaters and so on, what additional employment opportunities will await Sri Lankans? Well,
there'll be massive, the direct and the indirect.
Right.
The indirect will be huge.
Okay. And will this improve the sea? This is another question. Will it improve the seafarer employment opportunities as well?
Definitely, because there will be more calls into Colombo.
Right.
At the moment, only about 5,000 ships come into Colombo.
Right. And with that 5,000, we're doing around 7.5 million containers.
Yeah, I mean, that is including the import-export cargo of Sri Lanka.
Yes.
But you see now, this expansion is planned to handle the transshipment.
Okay. Before we finish, we've got about 3 or 4 minutes. I want you to explain to me, because it was very interesting, ships coming from the west to the east, and as you say, they can use our exclusive economic zone to pass through, to navigate through.
Correct.
Tell me the effects of why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just go outside the zone?
Well, actually, they take the shortest route.
The shortcut.
Shortcut.
Yeah.
Actually, by doing so, they are saying about 1 day sailing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and these big ships, probably the daily operating cost is about $150,000 a day.
But we don't, Sri Lanka doesn't get any
No,
any benefit, financial benefit.
No. We don't get a financial benefit. We can't make a levy on it.
Right.
But what we get is 10 million tons of carbon dioxide.
Oh, okay.
That's what we get.
Okay.
The foreign ship owners get their costs reduced by about $10 billion a year.
Right.
Because remember, there are 35,000 crossings.
Yes.
5,000 crossings on tankers.
Right.
And 45,000 crossings on airplanes.
Right.
See, all these movements.
So what can we get from them?
Well, actually, I mean, the equation is that they save $10 billion.
Right.
And they leave 10 million tons of carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide hits the shores of Sri Lanka and the waters.
Yeah.
And we have massive climate change. It causes climate change. We have droughts, we have floods, we have landslides, we have famines, we have crop failure, practically everything. And our economy takes a hit. According to my calculation, almost 6 to 8% of the GDP.
So what can we do? What can the government do? Can
well,
we
actually,
ask them for credit for the...
See, the ship owners are benefiting to the tune of $10 billion.
Right.
Right? Now, I think there should be some way, right, that they support Sri Lanka, right? Now we have a $60 billion external debt.
Yeah.
And every year we have to pay $6 billion.
Right.
Now Sri Lanka, because of COVID, have lost the tourism income of $4 billion.
Right.
And then on the apparel side also we have difficulties. On the other exports we have difficulties.
Yeah. And
the expatriate income has fallen.
Yeah.
So all our foreign income sources have got affected.
So they're all stressed at the moment.
All stressed. And what I'm saying is that we need to talk to the big countries.
Yeah.
The bilateral lenders and the multilateral lenders. Tell them our problem, right? The big countries are gaining $10 billion and leaving us 10 million tons of carbon dioxide, which is affecting our economy to the extent of 6 to 8% of the GDP.
So our government has got their work cut out to try and negotiate some benefit out of that $10 billion.
Yes, I'm saying that we should ask for a waiver on the repayment of the loans.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And we've run out of time. But thank you very much, Mr. Ranjith Wickramasinghe. That's the way it was on Newsline Live. It is now time for the primetime news from News First. Thank you, take care, and God bless.